Hi, I'm Christine Boyce from the Gisborne Herald, and today we are visiting John Logan and speaking with him and Penny Walsh from the H.B. Williams Memorial Library about a new exciting project which is digitalising the historic Gisborne photo news. Okay, so John, tell me about the origin of the Gisborne photo news.
Well, it started in June 1954. My father started the magazine. We came up from Rangiora in the South Island, where he'd done a trial for about 18 months of a local magazine down there, and that was very successful, but he needed a bigger catchment for the magazine to make it successful financially. So we came to Gisborne, he started it up, and here we are, we're still here. Well, some of the family are still here.
And so Gisborne had nothing like it prior.
No, the success of Photo News was probably because local photographs in the news media were very unusual. There was probably one photo a fortnight or something like that in the local paper, and it was probably 2 or 3 weeks out of date by the time it got published, because the technology just wasn't available to them to do it locally. And so this was a real revolution to have a magazine come out with 68 pages, chock-a-block full of photos.
And what kind of events did you go to?
Pretty much everything that was on. We covered the whole range of community activities, and a strong part of it was the social side. Pictures of people at cabarets and dances, and then of course all the weddings and engagements and 21st birthday parties and comings and goings of people all covered, and a lot of sport.
Things that we probably don't cover these days, would you say?
Not as much, but
Yeah.
I think back then the town was a bit smaller, and there was a much stronger sense of community probably. It was a very isolated town in those days, and I think the population was a bit under 20,000 when it started, and so it was quite a closed community, and most people knew each other, so it was really exciting to see the people you knew and yourself sometimes in print.
And if you didn't know them, you could put a face to the name.
Yeah, and this of course fueled that, because all the busybodies would be searching through it
Definitely.
for all the local gossip and news.
Okay, and how long did it go for?
21 years. It closed in 1975.
Okay.
So it had its own 21st.
The last issue I think was, it had its 21st.
And how did the digitalising project come about?
I'll refer to Penny for an answer on that.
Okay.
We, at the library, Christine, we were really aware that the Photo News was 21 years old, a series of 21 years, so it was a finite thing. It didn't happen after that, and it was getting really, really heavily handled. But 4 or 5 people a week were coming in to look at it. Some people were starting to do naughty things and cut out photographs or take whole entire issues, and we're getting really concerned that there was going to be no complete set in the district. And so we started investigating it several years ago, started gathering up copies from garage sales and things to rebuild up the sets that were kept in the library and the museum. And so it's got more and more popular with members of the public the older it's got, because as John said, every busybody wanted to be waiting outside the shop wanting to see everyone else. Well, there's just as many busybodies today going back to see who was married to who and who isn't married to who these days as well, and who was the bridesmaid here, and who won the school sports there. So and researchers like a recent sort of surf life-saving history, the researchers went back looking for photos that were associated with the surf life-saving industry here as well. So it just needed to be preserved. More and more people are looking at it, and so it needed to be accessed in a way that anyone could look at it anywhere. There's months of preparatory work to do first to digitise something that's predominantly photographs, and the words, which we sort of, all of that is all called together, called the metadata, and that has to have a lot of background work so that it can be accessed online. So there will be an access point from the library page library webpage, the museum webpage. It'll have its own webpage, and people will be able to access it from just any other thing on the internet.
And so you search for a name, a place, a date?
Yep,
Easily.
any of the
Yep.
words that are in the existing photo news to be able to search by. Another important part of the project is John referred to it starting off in Rangiora. Well, in fact, Logan Publishing held the franchise, and they had photo newses in 8 cities around the country.
7 others.
Seven others plus
Total
Gisborne,
of 8.
so total of 8. And already Nelson has started digitising theirs, and they have released their Nelson photo news online. And we have had talks with them and our guy that's doing the digitisation, because we want to, we think it would be sensible to have space for the 5 other cities, should they want to pick up the digitisation project, raise the money in their own towns, that we'll all be sort of coming from the same website. So it makes sense not to do things in isolation.
Yeah, good. And how much is it costing?
About $65,000.
Okay, so quite a big investment for... Who's paying for it?
We're raising the money in the community. The H.B. Williams Memorial Library Book Trust has made a $20,000 grant, so that's got us started. And we're looking at other places as well, but we'll gratefully receive any donations. And one of the really major things was John has gifted the copyright,
Okay.
so and
That's
made it
huge.
accessible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, you mentioned earlier about the quite time-consuming task of getting in touch with everybody who contributed, as far as engagement photos, 21st photos. What does that involve?
Well, every one of those photos that wasn't taken by Logan Publishing Company, the person who took the photo owns the intellectual property. So we are trying to track them all down. It's quite hard to find someone from 1954 who took a photograph of an engagement. Trying to track them all down and asking them if they will give that copyright to for general use. Otherwise, we are obliged to black out the photo if someone objects, and that won't look good. We would be really appreciate if anyone thinks they've got a photograph in the photo news and is willing for it to be shown online, if they could contact the library and make it known to us, and we'll do the paperwork at our end.